All right. Welcome, everybody, to the GSA Candidates Forum. My name's Ty. I'll be your moderator for this evening. The way the evening is going to run is that each candidate is going to have 2 minutes to say what they like, and then after that, we're going to run through all of them. After that, the floor will be open for any questions you wish to ask them. So, on that note, when you have 15 seconds left, I will stand up, just to let you know. I'll be sitting over there. Excellent. All right, so we'll start off with the order that I'm going to introduce or have them speak in is purely the order they have appeared on the GSA website when you go to vote. So just to let you know, that's how the order's been chosen. So for the presidential candidates, we have Faisal Mohi and Mariam Shatahari. Faisal couldn't make it today, so we will first have Mariam up to give her spiel.
Thank you all for, does that count as my 2 minutes, or are you going to show me? I want to thank you all for coming out today. My name is Mariam Shatahari. I'm in my second year PhD, civil engineering. I've been a grad student at the University of Waterloo since 2010. I've been involved with the GSA starting from 2011, officially involved since 2012 as at-large, and after that I was elected as the GSA Vice President Communication and Events. During my involvement and experience that I gained from this period, I decided to run for the president position because right now I do have the leadership skills. I do know the body of the GSA as well as the UWaterloo staff, and that's it. Thank you.
1 minute. Excellent. All right, so the next position we will be having the candidates come up for is VP Communications and Events. So first up we have Colleen Ibn.
Hi everyone. So my name is Colleen. I'm a French Studies student. I've been involved at the GSA since last year. I'm the Executive Vice President Student Affairs. I'm running this year again for communication and events because my experience in the student affairs position made me realize there are projects I want to work on for next year. I want to make sure that our presence on campus is made better. We have a better presence. I want to make sure that we're using our website and online presence with the social media in an increasingly better manner. I want to make sure that departmental GSAs are contacted quite often and aware of what the GSA exec are doing, because sometimes we don't have the connections we want with the departmental associations and we don't work enough with them to make it better. I want to make sure that satellite campuses are reached out. I started doing this as my VPSA portfolio made me do it. I tried to connect and engage them. I went to Stratford and Cambridge. I still have to go to Kitchener. Being aware of what they want us to do for them. One of the projects for Stratford would be to work and have event for the theater programming that they have, making sure we can develop seminar lecture series, just like with the Cambridge campus. And finally, I also want to make sure the orientation recommendations are used. And I guess I will stop there. If you have questions about things, then yes, let me know. Sorry.
And the other candidate for VP Communication and Events is Jessica Nicastro.
Hi there, thank you for coming out. My name is Jessica Nicastro, and my background here at Waterloo started in 2006, where I did my undergraduate degree here in biomedical sciences. I'm also completing my master's this term at the School of Pharmacy and will be starting a PhD beginning next term. Throughout my time at Waterloo, I've had the opportunity to become involved in many aspects of the university, including working with the Department of Athletics for over 5 years now, where I've been working with developing their events and hosting campus-wide events. I've also worked with the Faculty of Science for promotions, and I've also done a lot in the community and have a lot of connections that way. So I think as a VP Communications and Events, I could do a lot for the graduate community by with the experience that I have, and also by using those community connections that I have to make the events just bigger and to promote them better. Also, coming from a satellite campus, I have felt that we don't know a lot about what is going on here with the GSA, and I've been making a big effort throughout the last year or so to become involved, including volunteering at many of the events that they've had this past year. And I would like to be able to make that more available to the other students in the area, and I think that I possess the capabilities to do this very well. Thank you.
The next position will be VP Internal. So first up we have Tarek Mohammed.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Tarek Mohammed. I'm a third-year PhD student at the School of Pharmacy. I've also did my undergrad and master's here at the University of Waterloo. So by the time all is said and done, I would have been here for about 10 years. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm applying this year for the VP internal position because I think I've gathered a lot of experience through my other commitments and committees being at the School of Pharmacy. So I served 2 years on the PhDA, which is the Pharmacy Grad Association. I've also chaired and founded the Farm Club that we're also hosting at the School of Pharmacy, and also serving on a lot of committees as well. So that includes the Grad Studies and Research Committee, and as well as the Pharmacy Faculty Council. So with all these things combined, I think I possess all the experience to move forward and bring those efforts to the GSA. And primarily what I'm focusing on is trying to see where, when, and how we can make improvements to the health and dental plans. And being also an employee at the Grad House for about a year or so now. So I want to see how we can continue building on the Grad House operations and where we can make improvements as well to serve all students. And like my other colleagues said as well, ensuring that during the GSA meetings that we do have proper representation from all the faculties and departments, especially those off campus, like Stratford and Cambridge, and as well Kitchener. So that's all for now, and if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer those later. Thanks.
Thank you, Tarek. We now have Mike Makahulik.
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, hello, friends, Grad House, great forum for this. Hello to the members at large that'll be watching this on the World Wide Web. Hopefully we can get some exposure to the GSA, because I believe that this association does wonderful things for you. Many timeless hours spent serving you guys. Question quickly to throw out there, why am I running for re-election for this position? I basically am running to ensure that I finish the things I started last year. The major item that we're working on is making our bylaws as well as our constitution compliant with the Ontario Non-for-Profit Corporations Act. These are changes that have been coming to fruition over the last couple of years, but we are bringing our governance documents in line with that change at the ministry or the legislature. At the same time, this year, colleagues from Ontario-wide and myself actually formed the Ontario Graduate-Student Alliance here on this campus at the University of Waterloo. I'm currently the president of that organization, and I'm looking to continue getting that organization off the ground as well in the capacity with you guys as the GSA. And at the same time, I feel that I am best equipped with my experience over the years being involved with the GSA to make these things happen for you and to make this place better for you guys. And so I'd ask you to vote for me and my team, my colleagues that are running with me. Thank you for your time.
Next up we have Sonia Raman.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sonia Rahman. I'm a master's student in civil engineering. This is my second year in my master's program, and I was a president of in my country. I'm from Bangladesh, and like I have previous experience, but not in Canada. So in this 1 year, I got some experience about how the life and what's the struggle for the international student, because most of the graduate students here are international students. So to be a VP internal, my main focus would be to improve the life of all the graduate students and also the international students. So the main motive of the main aim of my position would be to give you the best from what you are paying for, because you already have paid, right? Because if you go to your Quest account, you'll find that you have already paid for GSA. So you want to get best from it. So I can assure that I will try my best to give you the best. So like you can say the GSA operate the health plan for grad students, and to be after being a VP internal, I will also responsible for the student relationship with the administration. So I can assure that I will try my best to represent you to the administration, because many of my friends, like grad students, are here. Like they have many comments about how can we improve, GSA improve their life, to the administration. We can present that the scholarship we get should be increased, because the tuition fee is very high here, especially for the international students. So I will talk for you guys. So please vote for me for VP internal position, and that's it. If you have any question, you're welcome, and thank you.
All right, so the next position is VP Student Affairs. First up is Usman, who is not here. Shah also couldn't make it, so we're going to Robert Henderson.
Thanks. So I'm Robert Henderson. I'm a PhD student in the Department of Physics and Astronomy, and I also did my undergrad here at Waterloo. So I've been here since about 2003. And my first involvement with the GSA was back in 2011 when I volunteered for one of its committees, and then I became a counselor for my department. And then in 2012, I became the Vice President of Student Affairs. And then since 2013, I've been the President of the Graduate-Student Association. And in that time, I've had many experiences, developed many relationships with senior administrators across campus. They all listen to my input, and I've done a number of projects and started a number of projects that I hope will make life better for grad students at Waterloo. And if you'd like to know about the list of those, we have them on our campaign materials. I'm happy to answer questions about them later if you have any. And I'm running with my colleagues who are all also executive currently, Mike, Colleen, and Miriam, and I hope that you can re-elect us so that we can continue our work next year and finish our projects. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. And last but not least, we have Muyiwa.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, first I would like to thank Rose, the Graduate-Student Association manager, and the Chief Returning Officer, Allison, and the Deputy, Tai. You know, these three, they've done a tremendous job to make sure that we have smooth election. I'm a PhD candidate in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, and for the past 3 years, I've met quite a number of people. One of them is Jake. Jake is a very brilliant man with 2 kids and a wife. One bright sunny day, we got talking, and he told me he's considering dropping out of his PhD program because he cannot sustain his family and his children on his meager stipend. Also, his supervisor prefers to further his ego than to see him graduate on time. Now, I pointedly tried to persuade him to reconsider, but unfortunately, I couldn't sway him. In summary, Jake dropped out of graduate school, and he went to pick up a job. A friend once told me about a similar incident about a master's student named Muhammad, who had spent 2 years in his program but suddenly dropped out for reasons best known to him. Now, I will tell you that I don't have all the facts, but what I know is that these individuals, they are suffering from depression and mental health issues. Now, time and time again, I've heard similar stories from graduate students, and it breaks my heart that we are losing our students. Now, what am I proposing? Now, the problem is the financial situation of the graduate students, it needs to be taken care of. Tuition waiver is the solution. Now, my manifesto, I am running on tuition waiver. Tuition waiver for international students, domestic students. And the story of tuition waiver, 1 second. I need to finish this because they need to hear it. We are here because of them. And tuition waiver is essential because it is not a new story. University of Toronto, they have tuition waiver for all the graduate students. And we can do the same thing here. I'll wrap up with that. If you have more questions, you can let me know. Thank you.
All right. So those are your candidates. The floor is now open for any questions you might have for any of them. You may direct them to the whole group or to any individual. It's up to you. So. Okay. I have a question. So I got asked today by someone in my program about what's happening with this whole bus pass referendum thingy from the feds. I would like to hear people's opinions on just the bus pass in general, whether we should keep it, what's happening with the feds, etc., etc. That's my vague question to the candidates. I'll start from the left.
Oh, can I pass?
You may pass.
Yeah.
I can pass.
You have something to say, please go ahead.
So, for clarification about the bus pass, the Federation of Students referendum that they're looking to, I guess in a sense, walk away from the contract, that had nothing to do with the UPass that you guys have. Our contract expires next year. We are looking this year, if our team's reelected, to work on renegotiating that contract in a fair, transparent manner. The one thing that I would like to point out, because the bus pass is a positive thing, I believe, is that graduate students, or just students in general in the Waterloo region, get a bus pass that's at a fraction of the cost of what general tax-paying citizens are paying. So we're getting something at roughly 30%. So there's definitely value if you look at that. If you ride the bus a couple times, a week, that bus pass pays for itself quite quickly. So I think that everybody should look at the bus pass as just a good thing for students and the region. With the students being in the bus pass, it makes the ridership across the board more broader in terms of the service delivery that the city can actually deliver to citizens in Waterloo region. Thank you.
Well, I'll say something. I totally support the bus pass, because in Unity we have a large group number of people that can pitch in a little bit. At the end of the day, all of us get the opportunity to commute from here and there. Graduate students, we're pitching pennies. Many of us don't have the opportunity to buy a car, right? But we need to get to school. We need to go around, go grocery shopping. So the bus pass is just, it's a no-brainer to me. So I totally support it. That's my opinion.
All right. So are there any questions about anything the candidates said or invited you to ask them about later? Helen?
Yes, thanks. There's been some talk of the health and dental plan. I'm just wondering if the candidates who propose changes to health and dental plan could elaborate on what those changes would be.
I think that's actually a very good question. as a grad student, I'm always using the health and dental plan coverage that we have right now. Being honest, I don't know all the ins and outs of the plan because all these details are obviously not maybe 100% visible to everybody. But first thing you want to do is review the current plan and see, first of all, if there's any improvements that can be made. So some ideas could be, is there any way possible we can up the coverage a little bit? Is there any way that we can facilitate ways for people to add at maybe a reduced cost, additional coverage if they have families, for example? So stuff like that. Again, we have to look at the whole program. I'm not fully aware of the exact details, but after review, if any changes or improvements are necessary, I'll definitely like to move forward and see how those can be implemented. So thanks again for the question.
Thank you for your question, and I think it's a good question because because I have to go through this plan because I have a eye problem and dental also problem. So GSA mainly cover, as far as I know, like $150 for 2 year of term for grad students. So I don't think it's enough because if you go to eye checkup, like it would cost you like $130, and if you go to buy class, so it will cost you like nearly $200. So I don't really support like $150 for 2 years of term. It's nothing. So I like, if I be the VP internal, my personal pursue will be like, aim will be to increase the premium for the grad student, and the dental plan maybe you as far as I know, like $200 per 2 years of term. So so dental is very expensive in Canada, so more dental coverage should be provided for the grad student as per my as I feel like. So yeah, that will be my aim, to increase the coverage for the grad student to help you better. Thank you.
Yeah, so there is coverage for dependents. You have to self-enroll in that, and there's a blackout period that you do that on an annual basis based on when you started into the plan. It is a group plan. It's not just a group plan amongst Waterloo. It's a group plan. That's what makes it so that we can get more for what we're paying in. Our total coverage for the year is well above what we are paying, if you look at it that way. So if we're paying, let's say, $100, but you can actually get $400 versus coverage. I just don't want to misquote any numbers on the spot. But at the same time, too, the GSA itself has been very much vigilant or diligent with respect to making sure that those costs are in line. So what we've been looking at before we're looking at broadening any coverage, because that's a cost to you guys as plan holders, we wanted to make sure that the costs reached a steady state with respect to the overall cost of the plan on an annual basis. And we've reached that this year. Well, within the last year. At the same time, the GSA has been subsidizing the plan for the last couple of years because we did have some savings from a prior arrangement that has actually changed when we shared the plan with the Fed. So I think we're at a good place now to really start exploring those things, but grad students have to get involved in the discussion in order to get those things to happen.
Thanks, Mike. Are there any responses to that from anyone? If they'd like to. If not, other questions? I saw a hand up on this side. Or not? Hella.
I believe some of you are running as a team, like a team of four for each. Yeah. And so a question for the other candidates. Do you know some of the other candidates running for the other positions? And have you maybe talked to them? Or do you know whether you have like common interests that you might like achieve together or something? Or are you planning on like, I don't know, going in conversation with them before, so that I always feel like it's good to know the other people that you might that you might work with later.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And because I thought about that, of exploring that option, because working as a group, it's a no-brainer, right? You get more votes. But think about it this way. I think it's going to be insulting on your intelligence if I tell you, because vote for me, because of me, vote for this and this and this. You should make your own decision. You can't just blanket, people and say, okay, I'm going to vote for 100 people at the same time. You should make your own decision and look at the position, look at the individual and say, is this person fit for this position? And then make your decision. You shouldn't base your decision based on, because Mr. A, you think B and C and D should work like Mr. A, you know? It's easier for the previous executives to come together because they've been working together. It makes sense. But because these are new people that think that they have something to contribute to the Graduate-Student Association, to broaden the horizon, to make sure that the profile of Graduate-Student Association is wide-reaching. It's something that all graduate students will be proud of. We don't want to be associated as, oh, that White House in front of the library. Nobody want to be here. This is a simple example. Look at this place. This place should be full. We have over 3,600 graduate students in University of Waterloo. And look at the number of people we have here. That goes to show the kind of change we need. We need to do something different, right? We've been doing the same thing over and over, and it's not working. You have to think of doing something different, right? It's insanity to do the same thing over and over and think there's going to be a change. So that's the more reason why you should vote for me as Vice President Student Affairs, because I know how to push this. You push all these agendas. You make sure that they are done. One of the things I'm thinking of is rebranding.
I want to see you address the question.
I just did.
Okay. If you have anything.
If you have any other question, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Do any of the other candidates who aren't running as part of that team wish to address the question? Yeah.
I actually also think that's a very important question for the campaign. Me personally, I know all current executive councils because I do work at the grad house, so I do see them on and off. Me personally, I am running as a individual person for VP Internal Affairs. Primarily because I think it's more important to show that we're going to be giving 100% in no matter who's voted in, who's voted out. So whether it's person A or person B, we will have to come together as a team to make all the missions move forward. So I hope that answers your question.
Hello. I have also had the opportunity to meet a lot of the candidates and also my colleague, Tarek. And I'm also running as an individual, mainly because I wanted to show that I'm open to any kind of collaboration with anyone that will be in the position. But we have discussed some of the events, and it seems like we do have some similar thoughts that way.
Okay, thank you for your question. And I am also running an individual, and I think I don't know who is the best for that other position. So I don't want to make a group now to influence you guys. So I'm running for my own self, and I think I'm the best. But I don't know about others, who is the best for that position. So that's why I'm not in a group. Anyways, thank you.
Okay, so there was a suggestion that it would be better to not be running as a group as opposed to be running as a group. Would anyone on the team like to have a say against that? I assume you're against it, yeah.
I think us running as a team makes serving you graduate students more efficient, as we do not need the learning curve that the other candidates need, because we're already on track. We know each other's capabilities, weaknesses, strengths, and we know exactly who can do what and what are the negative sides that, not negative, but what are some sides that I can fulfill, or Mike can fulfill, or Colleen can fulfill. And the running as a team does not necessarily mean that if you're voting for me, you have to vote for Colleen or you have to vote for us as a team. You can individually vote for individuals. It's not a bundle. So that's it. Thank you.
Next question, Krista.
So this is for everyone. So think of a graduate student issue that's specific to your portfolio. So I mean, this is a chance for you to expand on your particular platform, if you will. So if you could just think of a student issue, a current one that you currently face, and specifically some things you'd like to do to help address that or to help better serve graduate students based on that need.
All right, 1 second. in the interest of not having someone take the floor for 20 minutes, we're going to give you, I'll give you each a maximum of 4 minutes. You don't have to use it. It's maximum of 4 minutes.
Can we always not start from me?
Yeah. Sorry, I just turned around to see you.
Thank you.
No worries. No worries. Thank you, Krista, for the question. For me, primarily because again, I use the health and dental plan quite often, and I even have to change my dentist just to be part of the network to get the additional discount just to cut costs for me. I think it's important that, and I think Mike already mentioned that, like we're at a stage right now that there is an opportunity to relook and visit some of these parameters of the health and dental plan, and see where any improvements can be made or any changes. So that includes like health or prescription, dental, vision, anything like that. So basically, that'll be one of my primary goals, is to, if elected, basically review what we currently have, see where the opportunities lie, and see how we can act on those opportunities. So again, thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you for your question. And yeah, I have several plans, like how can I improve the graduate student life. So yeah, from some other graduate student, friends of mine, yeah, they always say that they are international students. So they always say that the tuition fee is here very high. So we cannot deal with the tuition fee. But as a VB internal, I am the representative for the student affair with student relationship with the administration. So I think I will pick the point like you cannot reduce the tuition fee, but you can increase the stipend for the grad students. And like many of grad students here, most of them are from international, and many of them have like spouse or kids. So if GSA can operate a daycare system at a cheap price for grad students' children, it would be better for them, because the daycare services are very expensive over here. So like this type of things in my mind. And the other issue, like the health plan, I already say that I will also work with that. So yeah, that's my initial plan. And if I get elected, then there will be more plan, obviously. Thank you.
I think what we'll do for this section, if anyone has any questions directed at comments made from the first two speakers, you can ask them now, and then as we'll go through, and we'll have questions after each one, so we don't forget.
So the question for the VP internal position, so you mentioned a couple of times that you are interested in working for international students. So as far as I know, I mean, the international student fees and those things comes under the portfolio of VP Student Affairs. So I don't know how you will work on that issue. Or the other way I can say the question is that if you are interested in so much for international students, why don't you run for VP Student Affairs? Because the VP internally manages the grad house and the health and dental plans and those things.
It's from me, right? Okay. So yeah, like besides the health plan and grad house operation, I am also responsible for student relationship with the administration. So I obviously have meeting with the administration. So I can, I think I can say some like this type of things to the administration. So we cannot deal with the tuition fee for obviously because it's going on for years. So I think, but they can increase the stipend, whatever the grad student getting from the university. So yeah, that's my plan, because I'm also responsible for the student relationship with the administration. So, thank you.
Right. Yes.
All right. Now, while my main position will be working with events, the main issue that I think that the GSA should be addressing right now would actually have to do with the amount of funding that graduate students are getting. So I know right now two of the major issues that I'm aware of are one with the TA rates. So while the TA rates are increasing, I know a lot of our scholarships, especially in my department, the scholarships that we get along with our TA rates are actually decreasing, so we're still making the same amount of money. But with inflation, it actually ends up being less. And the other issue would have to do with proctoring rates, where we should be getting the TA rates for the proctoring positions, but I know at our school we're only getting paid $12 an hour. So that would be something that I would bring to the table and make sure that the GSA addresses. Thank you.
We'll go with the question in the back first.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just curious what you think we should be getting paid as our stipend. Do you think that's attainable? Because as far as I'm concerned, well, what I'm aware of, I think, is that our TA rate increases with tuition fees increasing as well. Like,
yes.
I think is it the current exact rate now has you may put that in policy? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I guess what I would have to say is that I don't know if it's necessarily something that we can address by making the stipends higher, but it's possible that we could try to negotiate something where we're not seeing that same increase in tuition or seeing an increase in the TA rates in proportion to that. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to afford just regular living as a graduate student.
I have the same question. What you mentioned about the TA rates and the funding situation, these come under the portfolio of VP Student Affairs as
yes.
they are current. So do you plan of changing the portfolios if you are re-elected, like the VP Communication should be working on the affairs of student affairs or
well,
vice versa?
Yes. And I understand your question. So while I would primarily, if I was elected, be focused on promoting events, I still feel like I would have a voice within the GSA, and because I have that voice, I would try to take advantage of it to make sure that the most important issues are brought forward. And while events are important, I feel like things like what we're being paid can matter somewhat more to the entire graduate population. Thank you.
Any other questions for Jess? No. Robbie. Woo!
So while I was VP Student Affairs 2012 to 13, we actually had a number of students approach us about funding issues, in particular the TA rates, and that some of the work that was being done was not being paid at the full TA rate. So that was an issue that was brought to us over a year ago. And this executive team has spent that time since trying to fix that, and we actually have fixed that issue so that all TA work across campus is being paid at the full TA rate. And we have a class ed policy that is on the provost's desk as we speak to get that done in official university policy so that no one can get around that. And so that's an example where students have come to us with a problem and we have gone around and fixed it. The issue with funding increases, we advocate every year and have gotten so far the same increase to the TA rate and to the total minimum guarantee for doctoral students. The stipend increases that the faculty and staff have gotten. So that increases actually in line or more than tuition does. So last year the tuition went up for, on average, grad students 2%, and this past year, or this coming year, it'll be 1%. So we're actually ahead of the game. So those who are making the bare minimum will be making more, and then the tuition increase that has been covered. Also, when I was Student Affairs VP, a number of students came to me with individual cases, everything from student supervisor issues to TA issues to funding issues. And for the personal and student supervisor issues that came forth, I helped direct them to the various policies and procedures around campus and various resources available to them to make sure that they got the resources they needed to solve their problem.
What you should direct as to like what as to the question that came from there?
Well,
what issue we're talking about, not what we could have done in the past, right?
Well, I'm saying that the issue, if a student comes to us and says that they're not being paid what they should be paying, that is an example of how we would in the future if it happened again, and how we have also done that in the past. So, is that satisfactory?
Yeah. Questions for Robbie? All right, Colleen.
So, if a student came up with an issue regarding communication in events, that could be, well, we have a couple. I think of one. It would be communication. Departmental associations sometimes do not know how to reach us, GSA execs, whether it's for a specific issue, for one other portfolio like everybody. I would make sure that they know where to contact us by increasing our website presence social presence, having a Twitter account, making sure we also blog about what we're currently working on so that students actually know, because it's really restrictive how the way we do it. We basically have council, and we provide reports. Each exec, each month, provide a report on their current activities, and whether the students know what we're doing is up to them because they need to read it. But during council, we have presentation, we make sure that they're aware of it, and that would be a way to address the differences in communication and the discrepancy, making sure we, or I, as the somehow hub for communication, reach out to different departmental associations and make sure we advertise their event, make sure they know about funding things that we have, GSEF, GSA donations, etc. But that's it. If you have questions.
Questions for Colleen?
Thank you, sir.
Just quick, not to, this is a tough question actually. I thank you for bringing that up, and it was nervous back there. But the major thing that graduate students need to really understand is that there's different levels of advocacy. There's advocacy on campus with the university administration where we got to work through problems. They could be one case, like case on case individual, or they could be broader things like we've been hearing. There's also provincial issues. The education system in Ontario is mandated by the province of Ontario and the Minister of Training, Colleges and Universities, so we have to work with that office as well. There's also the federal government of Canada, the Harper government, if you will, right now. All of these jurisdictions work on issues that affect students, and we have to be speaking with them, and that's why our team is working in that capacity this year. The VP External goes to Ottawa to work with federal issues. The role that I'm filling with the Ontario Graduate-Student Alliance, we work with the provincial government. We met with them this year. That was a milestone achievement for us. Up until that, we've been left on the sideline. We want to continue working in that association or that alliance of 28,000 graduate students in Ontario to get these issues raised. Right now in the OGSA, we're working on policy development. In order to lobby the government, you have to have policy. You have to have ideas with tangible facts. We have to build these things before we actually go to government. And at the same time, I want to continue working in the GSA as well, broadening our capacity internally with policy development. Right now, that's something that we really lack, and that's something that I want to see happen this year. So that's why I ask you all, when you're casting your ballot, to please re-elect me. Please re-elect my team, because we're working on these issues, and we're going to get results for you. Thank you.
Questions from Mike?
Thank you, Krista, for that question. I remember from little research that I did, there was a student advocacy committee that was set up last year, 2013, I think. And the number one issue from graduate students was funding. And Krista was part of the committee. My running mate was also part of the committee. Number one issue was funding. And you agree with me that every graduate student, they need to be adequately funded for them to be productive. That was why when I made my speech, I talked about tuition waiver. But it is not a new idea. University of Toronto has a tuition waiver for their graduate students. In fact, about a couple of weeks ago, I was at the faculty meeting, and I was discussing with Dean of Engineering. And she agreed with me that yes, but they're going to work on it. But if we don't push it, nobody's going to come and give us on a platter of gold and say, okay, just take it. But somebody needs to start that conversation. It might not happen this year, but somebody needs to start that conversation. We need to put it on the table, right? Whether you're an international student or a domestic student, there has to be some sort of tuition waiver. Now, if we talk about the TA rate, my proposal for the TA adjustment is that there should be a guaranteed TA allotment for every graduate student that is enrolled in University of Waterloo. For example, in civil and environmental engineering, it's not all of them that gets TA. It's not all of them, because it doesn't go round. So we should have a structure that has a guaranteed TA packaged with the stipend that within your 4 year, you have a guaranteed minimum of 6 TAs. We should push it. They might push back and say 4 or 2 or 3, but you are rest assured that you're going to get it. Because the way it works now is somebody has to like you, or maybe the supervisor has to, or you need to work with this professor, or the professor knows this other person for them to give you a TA. It doesn't go around. So those are the issues that burns on my heart. And some of these grad students, they complain about it. I have lots of them as my friend. I've been here for over 3 years. So I know all these issues, and those are the issues that are on the grassroots. It's good to make policies, yes, but how does these policies affect you? How does it make your life better? How does it make your education better? How does it make your experience in University of Waterloo better? So that you won't live here as a disgruntled individual and you feel like, oh, I wasted my time. You understand what I'm saying? That's why you need to vote for me. Vice President, Student Affairs. Come March 5th, vote for me. Cast the ballot.
Thanks. All right, so there's a few questions that we have. We'll stop there.
The question is, you said that the University of Toronto, the graduate students, they don't pay the tuition fee. So I'm not aware of it, but can you specify it for research-based students or course-based students as well? And a follow-up question, if it's true that they don't pay the student fees, so are the current executives doing anything on that, or have they worked on that issue at Waterloo? That would be for the current executive.
Okay. Yes, I know. Many people are not aware of it. So you just need to keep on top of the situation to know. In University of Toronto, their research students, it's tuition free, right? Their stipend, the stipend they pay is about 15,600 or something for the stipend. But here we pay about 19,500 or something. But your tuition is about 7,000. If you do the math, it doesn't add up, right? So what I'm saying is we can find a structure, find a way to put the tuition waiver there so that we can, have a leverage, a level playing field for both international students and domestic students. You understand what I'm saying? So that at the end of the day, we have quality research coming out of this school. If we want to compare ourselves with Stanford, because there was a study that talked about University of Waterloo as the Stanford of Canada. Now, if we want to compare ourselves with Stanford, then we have to do what Stanford does. Thank you.
All right, so if it was true, seems like this. Follow up, current exec.
So the current funding framework that we have at Waterloo, the minimum guarantee is at 21 to 25, I think it is this year, and it's going up again as of May 1st. So it's actually constructed in a way, or historically it was constructed in a way to account for the fact that you pay tuition and then you earn a stipend on top of that that covers what they think you need to survive, essentially. So when we increase that amount, it's either in line or, in this case, in the recent past, it's been above what the tuition increases have been, so that is covered. So universities need to charge tuition, and then they get government grants on top of that. But for graduate students, they also pay you, so it essentially makes up for the difference. Now, for international students, international doctoral students especially, Waterloo does something very special already that not, as far as I know, any other university in the country does. That for the international doctoral students, you get a waiver for the difference in the tuition between that you pay as an international student and that domestic students pay. So essentially, you end up even. And that is actually very unique to this university. So we already do a very good job controlling the funding levels for both domestic and international students. So when we go and advocate, we try to make sure that the funding levels keep increasing and that the base level keeps going up, and that the departments, they're all doing different things, but the thing that we can control the most and what we have most effect on is the minimum guarantee, and that's where the students need it the most. A lot of departments across campus actually pay more than that. So.
I did want to answer the question that was posed about University of Toronto. Old school, very deep endowment. So my knowledge of that is that it's the endowment that is actually helping support that enterprise. I believe there is that offset. I'm not going to say 100% for sure, but I've heard that in my time here at Waterloo, that I've heard that exists. The other thing too is that the reason why I talk about policy is that you need to have good policy and good research and good facts, because you don't want to go to a meeting and say something that'll never get you a meeting again. So that's why we have to move the GSA to a more research-driven, results-focused, and the rest will come.
So there's lots of shaking heads. things over there. So yeah, do you?
Well, I think they do pay tuition. I don't think they have a tuition waiver all across the board.
No.
Well, I just checked on Google, so it could be wrong.
I think so myself. The only University of British Columbia graduate students, they won't pay fee if they were research-based students, but that stopped a couple of years ago as well. So my knowledge is all graduate students pay tuition fee, but I may be wrong. So.
Okay. So you had a question earlier? No, that's been more than dealt with. Okay, great.
I want to start by a first expression saying that only literature that is non-written has 0 grammatical mistakes. And what I mean by that, thank you for distracting. And what I mean by that is that unless you have, not that any other candidates don't have the knowledge, but unless you're not in the process, you're not in contact with the UWaterloo staff, you don't know how the processes work. Obviously, I would love to stand here and say, I'm going to give you each $100,000 and we're going to waive all the tuition. You can do as 100 times bleaching, you can get 5 glasses per year. But we can't do all this, and we can't do it in a year. And executives are not full-time staffs, although we put way more hours a week to serve our graduate students because that's what we enjoy and we like to do. But what we can do is what is in our power. I remember I just have a very brief thing to say, and that is, I remember the first time that I attended the first annual meeting in 2011, and the student affair, the VP student affair had only one slide, and that was talking about how to secure the TA rates, where in that time it was very inconsistent within different departments. And I started laughing and saying, is this all they've done in a year? And after that, when I became the at-large and I figured out there's way more into all this, and I wasn't involved as much. And again, when I became the executive, now I see that there's way more complexity in terms of process, policies, and so many different aspects that we are working on it, and we're trying to improve it. But there's so much that each of us can do. That's it.
Do you want to address the question about what your vision is, or?
My vision for next term is that we are having many projects running right now, and we will be continuing to run to have progress on those projects. And we already have a very good relationship with the UWaterloo staff, and based on the first time ever University of Waterloo camp orientation only for graduate students, which was campus-wide, and all of us were the, well, Robbie started the whole thing, but we were the main thrust of that moving forward. I think based on, what was the question? I lost it. So yeah. Yeah, I think I'm done. I feel dizzy. I have to go.
Okay.
Oh, do you have a question?
There is a question there.
Yeah, so
yeah, I'm fine.
Team has 2 persons who have already served as president, one couple of years ago, and one is the current president.
Yeah.
So what makes you a better candidate than them that this year you are running as a president and they are not running?
Because we have some goals that we want to achieve, and this allows them to have more time to work on their projects. And right now, I do have the leadership skills to be able to, and also have the communication and network with the University of Waterloo staff to be able to move these projects forward. Any other questions?
Right. Yeah. Sorry, do you want to? Do you actually want a quick 2-minute break? Yeah, go to the washroom break. Yeah. We'll be back in 3 3 minutes.